Welcome to Deep Thought. Don't cut off your nose to spite your face. I want y'all to really think about what I'm saying, because a lot of times people will do stuff thinking they hurting somebody else, but they really hurting themselves. That's what that statement generally mean. And it could be something you think you doing something to somebody else by doing something to yourself, but it's really you really hurting yourself. Like, you get too many people who think, if they vote a certain way or if they support a certain idea, a certain ideology, that they hurting somebody else. But at the end of the day, they really hurting themselves. Now, that could be applied in so many ways. You got groups of people who do it. You got individuals who do it. But today, just think about yourself. Like, you might have a dislike for somebody else. You might have a dislike for their ideology, whatever. And you think, well, I'm gonna do something to hurt them. I'm gonna do something to end whatever they talking about. It could be a content creator. You don't like that content creator, so you might call yourself, well, I'm gonna report that content creator or something like that. Yet that content creator is telling you some things that might be helpful to you. That is a perfect example of cutting off your nose to spite your face. You really hurting yourself. Whenever you do something, the first thing you gotta ask yourself is, will this hurt me in any way? Because it might not hurt the other person, whatever you're doing. You might think it's hurting the other person. You might take an action thinking it's hurting somebody else, but it's really hurting you. Especially in cases where the other person doesn't even know who you are. Because that other person might have knowledge. Let me use the content creator thing again. I'm just using that as an example. There's 1,000 examples. Shoot, y'all probably have your own examples I don't know about. I don't need to know about. But think about the times you might have tried to hurt anybody or go against them or try to stop their plan or something, but they had something in their plan that could be helpful to you. And there's plenty of people who will do that. And they think they doing something to that other person, that other group, whatever. They not doing anything. They actually hurting their own thing in the long term. I'm going to tell you what. You got to always think, every action you got to take, everything that you do, you got to ask yourself, will this hurt me or will this help me? You always want to go, will it help me? Now, you might not like that other person, but you got to ask yourself, okay, yeah, I don't like that other person. I don't like what they're doing and everything. But some of the stuff they doing is helpful to me. You got to think about yourself first. You got to think about yourself first. You got to think, does this help me? Now, if it help you, okay, fine. Now, you don't have to hang out with that other person. You don't have to be in that other person's thing. Shoot, you got groups who will go against another group, and it's like, well, hold up, this group is doing something that'll help, or they'll do something. You don't have to hang out with them. You don't have to deal with them and stuff. In fact, a lot of times when somebody is trying to hurt someone else, they really hurting themselves. They projecting something within them. They see it in someone else, and they trying to hurt them. Like you got, let me use a relationship example. You got some women who want a good man. You got some men who want a good woman, yet they doing stuff to hurt the opposite sex and say, hold up, don't you want them? Don't you want that person? Or you could be in a relationship and you thinking, well, I'm gonna do this, this, and this to this person, even though that person is helping that person, even though you want that person. Like a great example, relationship-wise, right? You get some people, they want the opposite sex, of course, right? Sex or whatever. But then they say, well, I want to hurt this person. It's like, hold up, don't you want that person? Like, I've said that to a bunch of guys. I've said that to groups of men. It was like, hold up, you calling the women this, this, and this. Don't you want to get with that woman? If you prevent that woman from doing something, then she can't get with you. And I've turned that around to the women. You know, they want to hurt this man or talk about trash about this man or do whatever. But hold up, they still want that man. You know? Shoot, I know an example that just came up is when, you know, somebody doesn't like somebody who practices a different religion or don't practice their religion. And yet they will do everything to hurt that person, but then say, oh yeah, come to my church, come to my temple. It's like, hold up. You hurting yourself, really? You hurting yourself. The way you doing this is hurting yourself. Why would they come? You know, I remember there was a website I was on years ago. I ain't gonna mention the website, but you had some Christians who were going against some non-Christians badly. They brutal, but then say come to church. I'm like, that's not the way to do it. Yet there was somebody else on there, that same website, who was Christian, who all the non-Christians respected. Because he was always, you know, just nice. And it's like, oh, okay. And I think he actually had some people come to church for him because he was not cutting off his nose to spite his face. They weren't hurting themselves. And that's really what that whole saying is, because you got to think about yourself. Don't do something that's really going to hurt yourself. Whenever you take any action, even if it's against someone else, you got to ask yourself, will this hurt me in the long run? You always have to ask yourself. Now, you shouldn't be trying to hurt another person anyway, because it can always come back on you anyway. But like, are you doing something? You got to think. You try to hurt this person, but it can boomerang back to you. You don't want to do that. You got to think about it. Whatever actions you take, you got to think about it. I mean, yes, technically you shouldn't. I'm going to say you shouldn't want to hurt someone else unless they going against you directly. But a lot of times people don't. You know, they projecting something onto someone else because they have some problem here or there. You don't want that. I want y'all to think about that. You always got to think, like, if nothing else, there's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself, with loving yourself, with thinking about what your best interests are. And, you know, you got to think, okay, why not take care of myself? Yes, I want to do this. You feel something in you. You want to hurt that person, that group, whatever. But if it comes back on you, what was the point of it? And I've seen that happen with a lot of people, a lot of groups. They hurting themselves. They not really, they think they doing something. And then at the end of the day, that's the funniest thing. They not doing anything to that other group or that other person. They might not even know it. Like the content creator thing. You get some people, they all mad and getting angry and everything, think they doing something against the other person. That content creator don't even know who they are. What was the point of it? What was the point? Or the other person, group, or whatever might be like, what was the point of it? I want y'all to really think about that, you know? Don't cut off your nose just to spite your face. Your face is you, you know? You know, don't try to hurt somebody else, but especially if they connected in some way, because things can boomerang easily. I want y'all to really, really think about that, all right? Anyway, that's all I have for right now. Think on this. Peace and blessings.